Hello and welcome to the Myschool channel. My name is Angela, and in this video we are going to be tackling the Literature CBT JAMB question for the year 2023. Please do not go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Myschool channel. In this video, we're going to be reviewing questions 61 to 84. Let's begin with question 61. The overwhelming pride that destroys the tragic hero is called A. Nemesis, B. Catharsis, C. Hubris, and D. Tragedy. The answer to this question is hubris. The tragic hero is the main character in a tragic work, and the overwhelming pride that eventually leads to his downfall is known as hubris. It is this overwhelming pride or arrogance that makes him blind to his own limitation, and it makes him to defy the gods of fate in that tragic work or in the situation that he is in. So this is what leads to his downfall. The answer to this question is hubris. Question 62. Fierce harmattan sun on innocent tendrils, torrential downpour on leaking thatch roofs, painful comfort of helpless eunuchs, thorny beauty of modern witches, the falcon's call on day-old chicks. Ours is a tragicomic dialogue, mute echoes of pains. The sonority and rhythmical structure of the lines above are achieved through a pause pattern called A. Scansion, B. Enjambments, C. Caesura, and D. Apostrophe. So the answer to this question is C. Caesura. Caesura is that pause pattern effect that is created in lines of poetry with the use of punctuation such as semicolons and commas. And you can see the use of semicolons and commas in these lines of poetry. They are used to help to create a dramatic effect, in the sense that while the reader is reading, they are able to pause in order to absorb the information in each of the segments in these lines of poetry. So the pause pattern effect created in these lines is caesura. Question 63. This question is based on Black Woman. Fruit with firm flesh illustrates the use of dash. A. Onomatopoeia, B. Consonance, C. Assonance, and D. Alliteration. The answer to this question is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of initial consonant sounds in a line of poetry. You can see that with the repetition of the sound at the beginning of fruits, firm, and flesh. And the purpose of this use of alliteration is to create a rhythmic effect in the poetry. So the answer to this question is D. Alliteration. Question 64. St. Jose got cold during the night. After having uttered those redundant, useless words, here she is. He wasn't sure what else he should do. It was true that after long and arduous labors, he had managed at last to find the unknown woman, or rather the place where she lay, a good 6 feet beneath an earth that still sustained him. So this excerpt is from Jose Saramago's All the Names. What happens to the unknown woman in the passage above? A. She falls asleep. B. She is dead. C. She is awake, and D. She runs away. So the answer to this question can be found in the last sentence of the excerpts. You can see the use of phrases like where she lay and a good 6 feet beneath to refer to the unknown woman. Both of them are euphemisms for death, right? Because where she lay shows that she has died, and a good 6 feet beneath is a common idiomatic expression used to refer to someone who has been buried. So the answer to this question is B. She is dead. Question 65. This question is based on the good moral. Use this excerpt to answer the question. If ever any beauty I did see, which I desired and got, 'twas but a dream of thee. This excerpt above evokes the use of dash. A. Olfactory imagery, B. Tactile, C. Auditory imagery, and D. Visual imagery. Remember, imagery is the use of words or phrases that help to paint pictures in the minds of the reader. This picture can be visual in the sense that it appeals to the reader's sense of sight. It can be auditory in the sense that it appeals to the reader's sense of hearing. It can be tactile in the sense that it appeals to the reader's sense of touch. And it can be olfactory in the sense that it appeals to the reader's sense of smell. In this case, the excerpt above is appealing to the reader's sense of sight. You can see that with the first line, if ever any beauty I did see. So the answer to this question is D, visual imagery. Question 66. The moment of recognition of truth, when ignorance gives way to knowledge, is known as A. Anamnesis, B. Anagnorisis, C. Hamartia, and D. Hubris. The answer to this question is anagnorisis. Anagnorisis is that moment of realization for a character in a tragic play where it moves from ignorance to awareness. So it's a moment where he moves from a point where he doesn't know how to handle the situations that are going on around him to a moment where he realizes the steps he has to take in order to transcend whatever situation he is in. Anamnesis is the recollection of past events in a literary work. Hamartia is the Greek word for tragic flaw. It refers to that flaw inherent in the tragic hero that leads to his downfall. Hubris is the overwhelming pride or arrogance of the tragic hero. It is an example of hamartia or tragic flaw. So our answer to this question is anagnorisis because it's that moment of recognition that leads a character from ignorance to knowledge. Our answer is B. Question 67. A long story narrating a series of complicated events is called A. Harangue, B. Discourse, C. Monologue, and D. Saga. The answer to this question is saga. Saga is a very long story that is narrating a series of complicated events. This event usually spans across multiple generations, and the story usually includes elements of romance, myth, and adventure. A harangue is a very long speech or rant that is designed to complain about a particular situation. A discourse is any conversation, whether written or spoken, between one person and another, while a monologue is a long speech by a single character in a dramatic piece. The answer to this question is saga. Question 68. This question is based on a government driver on his retirement. Many years on wheels. The reference to wheels exemplifies the use of dash in the poem. A. Climax, B. Personification, C. Metonymy, and D. Synecdoche. The answer to this question is synecdoche. Synecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part is used to represent a whole, or a whole is used to represent a part. In this case, the part of a car, wheels, is used to represent the whole car. So it's representing that car that this government driver spends most of his life in. So answer to this question is the synecdoche. Question 69. A novel that features spiritual apparitions as major character is dash A. Epistolary, B. Historical, C. Sociological, and D. Gothic. The answer to this question is Gothic. Gothic is a type of novel that features spiritual apparitions such as ghosts, spirits, vampires, etc. All of these add to the dramatic nature of that literary work. An example of a Gothic novel is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte and The Castle of Otranto. So epistolary works are works that are written in form of a letter that is transferred from one person to another to discuss feelings and emotions about a particular subject matter. A historical novel is a novel that discusses history, things that have happened in the past, while a sociological novel is a novel that discusses issues that affect a particular society. So our answer to this question is D. Gothic. Question 70. This question is based on Second-Class Citizen. The novel is set after which major war? A. First World War, which occurred between 1914 and 1918. B. The Aba Women Riots in 1929. C. The Second World War between 1939 and 1945. And D. The Nigerian Civil War between 1967 and 1970. So the answer to this question is C. The Second World War. Buchi Emechita's Second-Class Citizen was set between the 1950s and 1970s, just after the Second World War. So many events in the Second World War significantly impacted the socio-economic conditions of the time, and all of these are reflected in the novel. So answer to this question is C, the Second World War. Do you know you can take practice questions with our simulated JAMB CBT past question? All you need to do is to click on the link in the description below. This takes you to the Myschool website. There you can download the Myschool mobile app for your Android devices and the Myschool software for your laptops and computers. Please go ahead and start practicing. Now on to question 71. This question is based on Look Back in Anger. What were the other businesses Jimmy Potter had tried apart from the sweet store business? A. Farming, teaching and advertising. B. Teaching, painting and trumpeting. C. Journalism, farming and teaching. And D. Journalism, advertising and vacuum cleaning. So the answer to this question is D, journalism, advertising, and vacuum cleaning. And you can find this on Act 1 of the play. where Jimmy Potter was in one of his rants or tirades, and he was discussing how members of the lower middle class are not allowed to advance up the social ladder because they are not given the opportunity to do so in that era. So answer to this question is D. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos. Question 72. This question is based on The Lion and the Jewel. The use of language in the play is written in both dash and dash forms. A, vague and prosaic. B, prosaic and poetic. C, archaic and vague. And D, ambiguous and lyrical. The answer to this question is B, prosaic and poetic forms. Prosaic form involves the use of normal day-to-day language, conversational language, to dialogue with other characters, while the use of poetic form involves the use of beauty, music, and reading when dialoguing with other characters. And Wole Soyinka, just like William Shakespeare, employs the use of both poetic and prosaic form in his play to show the self-perception of each of the characters in his play. While Baroka and Lakunle makes use of poetic language, Sadiku makes use of prosaic language. So Baroka perceives himself as someone of royal blood. He perceives himself as someone with a higher social standing in society. And so whenever he's talking, he makes use of poetic language. That's a language that is characterized with beauty, reading, and music. Lakunle also makes use of poetic language when he's talking because he perceives himself to be civilized and very educated. And so he makes use of poetic language. Then Sadiku, on the other hand, makes use of prosaic language. She does not consider herself to be only a wife of Baroka, but also a servant. So she does whatever she's told to do. And so whenever she's dialoguing with any character in the play, she makes use of prosaic language. So the answer to this question is B, prosaic and poetic. Question 73. This question is based on Unexpected Joy at Dawn. Which of these characters is at the center of the impact of the xenophobic attack in the novel? A, Nitaki, B, Ezla, C, Masa, and D, Aaron Suru. The answer to this question is A, Nitaki. Nitaki is the center of the impact of the xenophobic attack in the novel. While he was in Ghana, he was afraid of living his life peacefully because of the xenophobic policy that was in Ghana at that particular period of time. Though he was born in Ghana, he had a Ghanaian name and he belonged to the Ga tribe. People still perceived him as non-Ghanaian because of the tribal mark on his face, which makes him look like he is a member of the Yoruba tribe from Nigeria. And so in order to assuage his fear, he decides to move to Nigeria. But his movement to Nigeria coincided with the introduction of the xenophobic policy in Nigeria at that time. Most Ghanaians were told to move from the country, considering the fact that he can't speak any Nigerian language and that his name was Ghanaian. All of this prevented him from living a peaceful life in Nigeria as well. He was even denied his wage at one of the construction sites in Nigeria. And he continued to face discrimination in Nigeria until he met his sister, his long-lost sister, Mama Orojo, in Nigeria. So our answer to this question is A, Nitaki. Question 74. This question is based on The Lion and the Jewel. Sidi insisted on the payment of a bride price because it indicates that she dash. A, is a virgin. B, has a wealthy family. C, is of marriageable age. D, is free from a family. So the answer to this question is a virgin, and we can find this in Act 1 of the play when Lakunle asks for Sidi's hand in marriage. Sidi agrees as long as he chooses to pay the bride price before marriage. But Lakunle insists that this tradition is an ancient and uncivilized tradition. But Sidi asks Lakunle if he wants the villagers to think that she is no longer a virgin and had to marry him shamefully without a price. So this is why the answer to this question is A, is a virgin. Question 75. This question is based on The Lion and the Jewel. In the play, the jewel of Ilujinle is dash. A, Sadiku, B, Baroka, C, Lakunle, and D, Sidi. The answer to this question is Sidi. Sidi is a very beautiful woman and she's the object of desire of both the village chief Baroka and Lakunle. So she gives this name to herself when she sees beauty on the pages of a magazine. So our answer to this question is D, Sidi. Question 76. This question is based on Unexpected Joy at Dawn. How did Mama Orojo meet Tom Monday? A, she met him on her trip to Ghana. B, she met him on an evangelism trip. C. She met him during the religious riots, and D. She met him at the restaurant. So the answer to this question is B. Mama Orojo met on Monday on an evangelism trip that she had with Ibok. He was their host on that trip and he welcomed them into his home. So answer to this question is B. Question 77. This question is based on look back in anger. Who was the first person Alison informed about her pregnancy? A. Her parents, B. Jimmy, C. Helena, and D. Cliff. So the answer to this question is Cliff. While Helena was ironing in Act 1 of the play, Jimmy and Cliff were having a rough play and then they fell into the ironing board. So this led her to get burned by the iron she was using. In anger, she told Jimmy to get out of the room. So as Cliff was tending to her injury, she reveals this to him. So answer to this question is D. Cliff. Question 78. What distinguishes Nitaki from every other Ghanaian? A. His accent, B. His face, C. His tribal mark, and D. His skin. So the answer to this question is C. His tribal mark. Though Nitaki was Ghanaian, he was born and raised in Ghana. He has a Ghanaian name and he was a member of the Ga tribe. All of this does not really show that he's truly Ghanaian because of the tribal mark on his face, which shows that he belongs to the Yoruba tribe of the Nigerian people. So the answer to this question is C. His tribal mark. Question 79. This question is based on Wuthering Heights. What gift did Mr. Henshaw promise to bring Nelly Dean from Liverpool? A bridle for her horse, B. A fiddle, C. Fruits, D. A set of paints. So the answer to this question is C. Fruits, and we can see this on chapter 4 of the novel when Mr. Henshaw was going to Liverpool. He asked his children Hindley and Miss Cathy Henshaw what they would want from Liverpool, and Miss Cathy Henshaw said she wanted a bridle for her horse, while Hindley wanted a fiddle. Nelly Dean was not one of Mr. Henshaw's children. She was a maidservant, and he promises to bring her a pocket full of apples and pears from his trip to Liverpool. So answer to this question is C. Fruits. Question 80. This question is based on second-class citizen. Who is Mr. Cole? A black tenant at the first apartment at England, B. Ada's colleague at the consulate, C. Ada's nephew she's forced to live with after Pa's death, and D. Ada's elementary school teacher. So the answer to this question is Ada's elementary school teacher. Mr. Cole is the first person Ada was looking for as soon as she leaves her house to go to the Methodist school, which she was not allowed to go to in the first place. She searches for Mr. Cole, and Mr. Cole welcomes her into his class with a reassuring smile. And at the end of the day, he also takes her back home, where she discovered that she was in a lot of trouble for leaving the house, even when she was not allowed to go to school. So answer to this question is D. Ada's elementary school teacher. Do you have a question? Please feel free to ask your question by clicking the link in the description below. This takes you to the Myschool website. There you can ask your question and the solution will be provided to you within a short period of time. Now on to question 81. This question is based on The Lion and the Jewel. The opening acts in the plays take place at dash A. The village market, B. The roadside to the farm, C. The ballet's room, and D. By the village stream. So the answer to this question is by the village stream. So the opening act opens with Sidi coming from the village stream with a pail of water. Then Lakunle comes in to help her carry the pail of water, and as he did that, he started to flirt with her. He was asking for her hand in marriage, but she agrees not to do this because he was not willing to pay the bride price. So answer to this question is D. By the village stream. Do you have a better explanation or solution to any of these questions? Please feel free to indicate by going down to the comment section below, indicating the question number and the solution you would like to share. Question 82. This question is based on Wuthering Heights. Which of the following characters dies last? A. Catherine, B. Heathcliff, C. Linton, and D. Mr. Linton. So the answer to this question is Heathcliff. Heathcliff dies after the death of Catherine, Edgar Linton, and Linton Heathcliff. And his death marks the end to the narrative. So our answer to this question is B. Heathcliff. Question 83. This question is based on The Lion and the Jewel. Which character may be an allegory of Nigeria itself? A. Baroka, B. Sadiku, C. Lakunle, and D. Sidi. So the answer to this question is Baroka. Baroka is a representation of the traditional values and customs he's trying to uphold, and it can be seen as a representation of Nigeria because of our colonial past. before colonialism, we had these traditional values and customs that we lived by, that were upholded. But with the advent of colonialism, things began to change as there is a tension between our traditional past and the modern world that the colonial masters were trying to bring into the country. And this modern world is represented by Lakunle and Sidi in the novel. So our answer to this question is Baroka, because it represents our traditional past. Question 84. This question is based on Wuthering Heights. What destination does the young Catherine have in mind when she leaves Thrushcross Grange for the first time? A. Wuthering Heights, B. the nearby village, C. the fairy caves at Penistone Crags, and D. London, where her cousin Linton lives. So the answer to this question is C. the fairy caves at Penistone Crags. Her desire for going to this destination was because of her desire for adventure and exploration. And in chapter 18 of the novel, she does this without asking for permission from Nelly Dean or anybody at the Grange. She has never left Thrushcross Grange before. But when she leaves for the first time, she heads to these caves because she's a spirited child and wanted some adventure. However, she doesn't get there, but that was her destination. Our answer to this question is C. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.